Okay, let's talk about berberine. Berberine is one of my favorite ingredients in Curos Essential, partly because it's unusual. You don't find it very often. You never find it in multivitamins, and you really don't find it as a combination with as many sort of cofactors as Curos Essential has. It's also the thing that gives Curos its bright yellow color. Berberine has been used in Ayurvedic and Chinese medicine for hundreds of years, maybe 1,000 years. And the reason for that is it's sort of a utility player. It has a number of different benefits within the cell. It's sort of like if you have a football player that can play wide receiver or cornerback and return punts. It's very useful in a number of different positions. There are nearly 5,000 papers published on PubMed right now about berberine because it's got so many areas of cell physiology that people are interested in and that it's effective in. For our purposes, the 4 areas that berberine is effective that we're interested in are detoxification, cell cycle arrest, apoptosis, and AMPK activation, which we also refer to as mitochondrial energy production. So let's talk about how berberine affects those core areas of cell function. So starting with detoxification, we just talked about Silifos and how it helps boost glutathione production and improves liver detox. So human studies have shown that berberine is actually synergistic with milk thistle. Milk thistle, you'll recall, is the active ingredient in Silifos. If you combine berberine with milk thistle, they enhance detoxability better than either one alone. So this is the reason that we've put them together in Curos Essential. With regard to cell cycle arrest, I did an introductory video a short while back that explains your cell's core defense systems, including detox, DNA repair, cell cycle arrest, and apoptosis. So berberine helps with both cell cycle arrest and apoptosis. And just to review, cell cycle arrest is when your DNA becomes damaged and your cell realizes that it needs to stop replicating until the damage is repaired so that you don't accidentally replicate damaged DNA. Cell cycle arrest is sort of like pulling your car over when you get a flat tire. If you keep driving on a flat, you're likely to cause more severe damage to your car. But if you pull over, you can fix the flat and then it's safe to keep driving. That signaling process to stop replicating until the damage is repaired, that's called cell cycle arrest. And berberine supports that process within the cell. Apoptosis is what happens when the DNA damage is too severe to repair. When that happens, it's very important to take the cell out of circulation to keep it from damaging the surrounding cells. In other words, if your cell is basically making the executive decision that it needs to end its own life for the good of the community. And the community in this case is you, your body. That cell has become dangerous because of the damage in your DNA. And if you let it keep replicating, it's going to hurt you. So the cell is basically committing suicide. And there are numerous complicated signaling pathways that make sure apoptosis happens as planned. That's not a rare event, by the way. About 60 billion cells commit apoptosis every day in your body. So that's maybe 0.2% of all the cells in your body that commit apoptosis every single day. So this is a process that has to happen in a properly coordinated fashion. It's a key defense mechanism for our body. And berberine, along with Silifos and delta tocotrienols and green tea extract, all of those support cell pathways that allow apoptosis and cell cycle arrest to work more efficiently. But aside from the detox benefits and the cell cycle arrest and the apoptosis benefits, the most interesting thing about berberine is that it activates the AMPK pathway. That pathway is a huge research focus among anti-aging scientists. The reason is the AMPK pathway is crucial for mitochondrial energy production. And anything that we can do to boost the power output of our mitochondria is good for our cells' long-term health. So if you've ever heard of the medication metformin that diabetics use, that medication has been used since the 1950s for treating diabetes, but over the last 15 years, it's gained a ton of interest because of its activation of the AMPK pathway. There are dozens of trials going on right now with regard to the use of metformin to prevent or treat cancer, and it's also being studied as perhaps the first anti-aging drug. One of the reasons for all that interest is that metformin activates this pathway that we're talking about. As it turns out, Berberine also activates the AMPK pathway. And in fact, in Asian and Ayurvedic traditions, berberine is used to treat high blood sugar, to modulate blood pressure, to improve heart function, what we call cardiac output, and of course for liver detox. And as I also mentioned in the video about Silifos, one of the key aspects of Curos Essential is the synergy between different ingredients. For example, berberine usually requires 1,000 milligrams a day to be effective. But because berberine and Silifos work together synergistically, we can actually get benefit without using quite as much berberine as we would have to otherwise. So I hope you're starting to get a picture of why we chose the specific ingredients that we put in Curos Essential. There are 5 or 6 ingredients in there that you don't commonly see in supplements and multis. Silifos and berberine, but also delta tocotrienols, which we'll explain shortly, green tea, a microdose of lithium, the ubiquinol form of CoQ10, and we'll discuss all of those, but I want you to also note that there are many supporting players that help your cells maximize the benefit from these ingredients. For example, any multivitamin that you pick up will give you B vitamins and vitamin D. There's nothing special about that. But most vitamins don't give you any magnesium. And magnesium is one of the minerals that most patients in my practice are deficient in. You need these minerals as cofactors to help your cells run efficiently. The enzymes that run these biochemical pathways use cofactors that are both vitamins and minerals, and you need to supply those to keep everything running smoothly. So the idea here is to give broad-based support for all the cofactors your cell needs, plus the maximal support for the cellular defense systems we've discussed, all in amounts that are shown to be effective in humans, and all in one bottle for ease of use. We have a couple more ingredients I want to tell you about, but I'll save that for other videos. And I also want to explain how we decide how much of each ingredient to use. We'll do that over the next couple of days, so I hope to see you back here.